Record the presentation so we can share it. Okay, good.
Kathleen's got a friend.
Oh, there's Rosie. I have a cat that's obsessed with Kathleen.
I'll just give you a rundown here. Things we're gonna go over. We're gonna talk about some keyboard shortcuts. Okay. I'm gonna talk about saving calculates and queries. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that. So if doing calculates or queries is not your strong point, then this might be a little bit beyond. I'm going to talk about saving your symbology. I'm going to talk about the address it symbology, because that seems to come up a bit.
It does, yeah.
And then custom toolbars.
Cool.
And that's it. And if we have time, we might talk about this dockable window thing that Susan discovered. I did not know that, Susan. About holding control down. Anyway, keyboard shortcuts. Okay, it's really, you're not going to see much in the way of a demonstration, but there are certain things you can do, and I believe these are true whether you're editing or not. But pressing certain keys will change your mouse pointer. If you can see my computer, I've got a hand. Maybe if I turn imagery on, it'll be more apparent. The first one I'm going to talk about is it's while you're pressing C down, you can pan. On my computer, it's not going to show much because I already have the pan tool selected here. But let me select the select feature tool. So here's a select feature tool, and it selects things. Oh, that's so nice. If I hold and press C down, it changes. And I keep it held down, and I can pan my map.
So what you're saying, Glenn, is when you don't have the pan selected, you can pan by holding the C down, and the selected cursor changes to a pan, and you can move around without having to go back and forth to the keyboard, to the toolbar.
Yes, and it's nice if you get comfortable, but also let's say I want to, bear with me here, I want to draw a road. I'm going to create a new road with address it. And where did the toolbar go?
It's over there on the left, next to your address points. Left, right above table of contents. Yep.
No, that's not the toolbar that I just turned on. Oh, it's way down at the bottom. No?
What are you looking there for?
Oh my God, it was 3 monitors over. But if I am drawing, if I decide that I need to draw a new road and it comes off of this one and it goes out here, while I'm doing this, I can hold C down, move my map, and continue drawing.
Oh.
You're just holding down the C button on the key?
Yes, on the keyboard. I'm just holding C and keeping it depressed, and I can pan.
Okay, that doesn't work.
Then resume drawing the road.
That's not working for you, Ryan?
You have to select the drawing tool to start it.
Well, I was using an actual address it tool, but yeah, you could do it in an edit session where you want to just say draw a driveway.
What you're saying is that the C button will just if you hold down the C button.
It worked for me. I went off the road and then I just had, this is good. I mean, I went off the map.
Yeah, it's most commonly used. I've commonly used it while editing. Like when you want to do a fairly long driveway in the country, you want it to be accurate, but you might need, if it's long enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you want to zoom in really close, but for that accuracy, but you need then you hit the edge of this, edge of your.
But what's nice is you don't have to be editing either. You can just press and hold C and just pan your map without changing.
Why can't you just use your pan key to do that?
Well, you can, Curtis, but maybe you're doing a big, complicated selection as you go around a county boundary. And I'm going to select all these roads. Oh, but I got to go up here and select just that one, but not that one.
Right.
And then I need these, but now
and
I
when
got
you go back and when you go back and forth, you lose your selection. So that's absolutely good.
so yeah. I mean,
And again, these
it's-
are shortcuts. These are not, you don't have to use.
yeah, I'm
these.
not
These are
saying
just
that this is
different-
the way you
No,
have
I'm,
to.
not, I'm trying to understand what's the difference between, you explained you can put the C down, but in whatever mode that you're in, the selecting stuff, if you push the C down while you use the pan key, then you can move without removing the selection. You didn't demonstrate that then.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Because like, yeah, here I have over here, this tool, select features is the one, it's my active tool. When I press C, I'm allowed to pan, but when I let go, it comes back to the tool that I was using
Yep, without
Right.
having to hit that selection again.
without having to change it on the toolbar.
Right. If you didn't do that, then wherever you touch with the pan key, it would cause a problem.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
if you select it, actually, that's a good question. I think if I go to the pan, the selection will stay.
I just
You know,
find though
but
that
now
when
I
you're
have to go
going
pick
back,
it.
yeah.
Now I would have to
pick it
go
again.
change. It can be a little bit of a time. I mean, I think it's the kind of thing, if you get comfortable with it, you'll find that you start doing it subconsciously as a time saver. So that's that one.
And also on that one, Glenn, it's really easy to screw up and not hold the right key down and then lose your selection, and then it's very frustrating. So
True.
the fewer times you have to go back and forth to the toolbar to to grab something, the better, I think. So
I think really
That's-
though, with the address it tools, this really comes in handy because
it's great.
if you go
yeah.
to get another tool with your address it tools, you're going to lose probably what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think on the address, you're going to be able to zoom a lot closer in to do your driveways and roads using something like this. So
Okay.
perfect.
Same, but you're going to find that on your QWERTY keyboard that bottom left row is where we're going to be focusing here. Z, same thing. If you just press and hold the Z, it changes to the zoom in tool.
Oh, look at that.
That's cool.
Wow.
That is cool.
So I can just,
We
while
like
I'm holding it down, I can zoom in. I
so
don't know. I don't know if there's a key to go back, like they have the button for it, which would be nice. But so Z zooms in, and this will work.
So while
also,
you're selecting, could you do that, Glenn? Like you were doing in the middle of a selection?
what?
I'm just wondering, while you were selecting, could you zoom in so you could select one little row without another one or something? Like
Well, yeah.
use a selection, use your selector. Is that
Zoom
what you're
in.
doing? Okay, yeah,
Select.
right. Zoom in
Zoom back
again.
out.
Okay.
Yeah, Danny. What's
There
up?
is a key binding to go back to a previous
Extent.
extent, and it's shift and then the left and right, not the arrow keys, but the two keys next to M.
Oh,
Oh, the little the carrots or the brackets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can
How
go
about
forward
that?
and backwards.
How about that? See, I didn't know
But
this.
it would be really helpful if you would release after this call just a shortcut document just that would show those to send to
So
everybody.
okay. No, absolutely.
I'm just playing around with all of these now. So if you hit down B, you can zoom in and out. If you hit down X, you can zoom out.
Oh, so
Oh,
Z is
that's-
zoom in and
that's
X
the
is
fixed-
zoom out.
That's the fixed zoom in. Yeah, the B is like a
Yeah.
fixed zoom in and out. Like if you like these tools, where are they? Like these two tools.
The fixed zoom in and out is a preset scale at the center of your screen. It will maintain the center of your center of focus.
So yeah, so Danny, thank you. That is huge. I did not know that until right now, and of course, Danny probably. Other people, Ryan probably too.
We just need to get all gamers on board with us because
That's
they know
what I
all
was
these
going to say. The
keyboard
gamers
shortcuts.
know all the keyboard stuff. But the other one so yeah, Ryan noticed X is zoom out. I was going to get to that. Z and X are zoom in and zoom out.
Okay.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Z and X.
Yep.
Now-
So just Shift Z and Shift X, right? That's all you have to do.
Yes. Now this one, it doesn't. The next one I want to do is only for editing, I believe. But I'm going to start editing. I'm going to zoom in just to make it a little. But if you are in an edit mode, and I believe you actually have to have the edit tool selected. And you're like, well, gosh, how often does this happen? I don't know. For some people, quite often. Like, But if you hold down V, hard to see here. If you hold down V while you're over a feature, it shows you where the vertices are.
Oh, yeah. It would be easier to see on a different color road, but yeah, change your road color.
Oh,
Yeah, but yeah, I see it now, Glenn. It's easier on those.
Yeah,
Yeah, those kind of east way.
I zoom out.
Look at your driveway and see what it does on the driveway.
Same thing, anything.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, there you go. There they are, right there. Okay, I see the
So-
corner where it makes.
If you're editing and trying to
You
do
know where that would be really helpful, Glenn? When you're editing boundaries and
Yep.
you're trying to snap
Yep.
zip vertex to vertex, and you don't know where the vertex is on the one that's not selected. That'd
Yeah.
be really helpful.
Also on the reshape feature, it's nice also.
Don't worry, Julie. You'll learn to do all these things eventually. If you haven't, yeah.
So I'm just pressing and holding V. Does it work? Yeah, no, you have to have that tool selected.
Okay, so you have to have the edit vertices tool.
The edit tool. This one that I'm on.
The little caret. Okay, yeah, the little pointer. Okay.
That's the
So
V.
with that selected, would it if you hovered over a point, would it work, or is it just on the roads? Yeah, just
Oh, I
the
think,
roads.
well,
Well, why would you care? A point only has one vertex. It's not like it's.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's not
helpful.
working on points.
Okay.
Only on lines and polygons. Like if I,
It shows the polygon. Oh, it's too big
Yeah.
one.
uh,
Now hold your shift key down and do the X and do the Y.
hold on, let me. Oh, what did I just select?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that.
That would be the county boundary. No.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually the community.
Yeah, that was the county boundary. Yeah.
But here's the community.
Yeah. There you go.
Cool.
Nice.
So anyway,
So that's
that's
Control V in edit mode with the edit
it's
mode.
not control, it's
Yeah.
just V.
V. Okay.
Hold on one second.
V in edit. Okay, I'm going to try doing it on mine. I keep going back to my own project to try to. Start editing.
I was getting some feedback. I was getting bad. I had Danny mute himself.
Yeah,
Just
if you have
unmute
two
when you wanna-
users in the same room, it is always
Yeah,
a problem.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to have earbuds in or something, or
What's that?
mutes.
Maybe you should talk less loud.
Danny says I should talk less loudly.
I'm not sure
Oh,
that that's possible.
Did you tell that Danny that you're a camera and that's impossible?
Okay, yeah, it is impossible. Let's
Okay,
go
so
to.
wait a minute. So you're in edit. Oh, you have to hit the V. That's right.
You have to just press and hold the V.
Oh yeah, cool. I'm gonna
That's
like
pretty cool.
this.
Okay,
I'm
this
gonna
other
like
one.
this for my editing things. Yeah. Okay.
This other one, I don't know how useful it is. It's. I think it would be nice with some of our clients if you're ever on their maps when they have 8 million layers loaded. But in your table of contents, any expandable item in there, you can control that. You can by holding Control and clicking on one of these plus or minuses, it will expand or collapse everything at that level.
Okay. Oh
So
wow.
if I hold Control down and click on here, it expands everything.
Kathleen, that is going to be so useful for you, isn't it?
What you mean for Dale?
Dale, oh my God,
Just
Dale
Dale
Booker in Nevada County has add symbols, those 3D symbols for almost everything in his map. It's
God.
probably 1.5 miles long. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Anyway, go
Yeah,
ahead.
what's nice though is like if you want to do like I said, it only works on the things at that level. So here's
Yeah.
in my I got group layers, but if I want to expand all my address it stuff, it will
And
do
it
that.
expands and contracts.
And contracts, it toggles,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's really convenient for the parcels that we have with.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, Curtis. That's what I use it on there all the time.
So it's a shift and click on the little plus minus.
Just control the control
Just
button.
control key. Okay.
Press and hold the
Again, you
control
need
button.
you need to list all these for us so that we have a little. And Glenn,
Okay.
what you should do is put it so that it's something that we can cut out and stick next to our computer.
I'm pretty sure that
And
Esri
could you have
does.
those laminated too?
I'll have Danny do that.
Hey,
Um,
Glenn, can you run it back by me again? Hit Control what?
just control. you just press and hold Control. Then with your mouse, click one of the expandable items.
Okay.
And that whole level expands or contracts.
Anything at that level will expand and contract.
It's going to be more applicable if you
I'm
have.
not seeing the utility for me, but
Yeah,
See,
Brian, again,
Brian,
it's
If your
photography.
MXD is lean and mean, it's going to be less useful.
I've got
because,
5 layers on this.
yeah, then you're then
project.
it means nothing. But
But
Ryan,
like I
not
said, Ryan, when we work with clients, we open these projects and they have so much data loaded sometimes, especially if they're making printable maps. They have a lot of symbology. And so just trying to find out where everything is really difficult, and you're always, clicking to open and close things. So, and again, also on complicated maps like Curtis uses with all these different parcel layers from McCurtain County, they have a parcel feature class for every subdivision. So it would be a really quick way of opening and closing things.
for most of them, not every, but a lot of them.
Not all of them, but yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's the
Okay.
thing. You guys will not see the utility for everything you do, but using these things,
Right.
for certain users, some of these are really going to be time savers. So
Okay. The
that's
next
Cotton
thing,
County.
it is Cotton County. That's
I recognize it. Yeah.
Yep.
And Walters annexed all that stuff all the way out from the city of Walters.
Technically, that is all the city of Walters. Yes.
Okay. Oh, they took in that that gas station and stuff on the interstate. That's what they did.
Well,
on
that
the toll
I
road,
think they actually will.
You know what, Glenn?
call this
Antlers
Walters
did that
property.
too. Antlers did that too, didn't
Yep.
they, Curtis?
Yep.
They annexed all the way out to the
Right.
anyway.
Okay. The next thing is about calculates and queries. Now, this is a thing that, perhaps the Julies and the Dannies are not as experienced with yet. But,
in short, Glenn, if they've not done calculations, calculations allow you to calculate the same value or a scripted value into every field that you've got selected.
every feature in that field. Yes.
If we were standardizing data, Julie, and we had to say, okay, some of their values are AV and some are AVE for Avenue, and we wanted to make them all the same, we could do a find replace or a script that changed every AV space, or space AV. It would have to have a space before to AVE. So just a way that you can quickly correct and you can do a calculation to do a sequential number, so you have a unique ID in every field. So anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
You can do fairly. I want to, let's just, for the sake of argument, something important needs to go in this field.
You want to put the same value into data source.
Well, but like it's actually not going to, I'm going to say that this needs to be AP000 and the object ID and at SDR.
Okay.
All right. Now, because I know that what I want to use this for, I'm going to go ahead and select that and Control C, copy it. So I've copied that to my clipboard, but I'm going to say okay. And it will do a calculate.
So what he's doing is creating a unique ID in these fields. He's doing, something plus a number that's a sequential number plus, add SDR. This is how values like IDs are calculated in the next generation 911 world. Yeah. So that at piece after the at, you have the entity like Saline County, Illinois, and then they can aggregate huge amounts of data and still know where it came from and what,
Right.
Hey, Glenn, I'm sorry to keep asking, but can I see that formula again?
Yes, absolutely. I was going to go back to it'll still be there if you just did it.
Okay, so you're just pasting in the object ID.
Yeah. And I mean, did Curtis, Ryan, Danny, did I do a training with you guys on like doing calculates like this?
Not specifically for this field.
Okay, well, that'll be a future training. to show you how to do more advanced ones like this.
What he's going to show us now is how to save. If you have a calculation you have to do frequently, like you're setting up 8 counties and you need a unique ID in every county, this is a way to save that calculation, right, Glenn?
So
I can see what you're doing here as far as the way you append the objects, file names, and all that stuff in there, and then. But I always, once I got it there, I just hit the OK and it does it on that field.
It does.
What did you beyond that?
That's what he did. Yeah.
Well, that's what I did. But like, suppose, Curtis, you find the need, like, man, I got to do this a week later because I've added 30 new points, and you know, I could select all 30 and retype it in, right? Or I could just save this. I can go to save.
Yeah, I do that all the time right there, that formula.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. So for me, I'll just show you guys because, you know, I like to show off. Buried deep in the bowels
One likes to show off his directory structure.
Yeah. You can put these anywhere. In fact, I put them
yes, they can be anywhere.
I put them on Dropbox so they can be platform independent, so I can just
there you go. Absolutely. Where did I put that stuff?
Showing off, huh, Glenn?
Oh, you know what? I think did I move them? Did I move them?
This is only as good as your mental filing system.
I know. I'm like, oh, this is horrible. I must have.
You're under pressure.
Just it's in here. Yeah. Okay, so calculate. So these are just all scripts that I used to have a lot more. But I want to save this calculate expression here, and I'm just going to call it training _1. And then, okay. Oh, what did I do wrong, guys?
You know, it doesn't like the underscore or the space.
There's a space. You have a space between the underscore and the 1.
Yeah.
Maybe just take the CAL out, Glenn, and just try training 1.
Well,
I'm just going to put its own cal on there, maybe.
It was just contract. There.
Yeah,
so I saved it. And then if I can clear. If I go to load, then I could pick any of these, you know. Full address with unit designation.
Huh.
And it throws it up there. And I don't think it'll do it because this field's not long enough.
Right.
Yeah, that works good.
But yeah, so, and then, you know, very similarly, the same thing works for queries. If you just I want to select.
Glenn, can we back out just 1 second? Could you share yours? Would that work to share
absolutely.
them?
You could absolutely do that.
CAL files are they're text-based files. They could be passed around. We could start. Now, subcalculates are pretty specific to a project potentially.
Right. But you could paste that one in here and just swap out the name of the county, and that would be, you know. Yeah. You'd still have all the values in there. So
yeah, I mean, if it's like one of the things that we maintain and we all have the same, and it has all of the same, components, types, then it should work.
Yeah, absolutely, Like the full road name, like you can do a fairly medium level calculate so that you don't have extra spaces in there for fields that don't have anything.
Yeah, because what I do is I have to put them together in pieces so that I make sure I don't have internal double spaces.
You can build a calculate that will do that where field
that
calculator.
would be really nice for us to have a calculation that would do that would remove, you know, if there's not a certain component that would remove the
full
double
screen.
spaces.
This trims and doesn't and doesn't leave any spaces, and it will do it. And there you go. Now
you need to share those.
We also have we've got a tool to do that.
Yeah, see, these kinds of things for me are replaced by tools that I can run some housekeeping tools, I like to call them, that will do this, and it'll update any concatenated field, and it's scripted, but it's still a useful. It's no harm in saving some calculates. This space is relatively cheap. You know, if you never use it again, you haven't really lost anything.
Okay, I have one thing I'd like to say real quick. Kathleen, maybe you should, in the next week, the following week, schedule another hour with Julie and just do a basic, just get a little bit deeper into calculations and things with her.
Okay.
I mean, I think just so she gets some basics on that, because that's not something she's probably done a lot of yet, but I don't think she needs complex. Just, hey, select these records and populate the same zip code. If you, Julie, I don't know if you know how to do those things or not, but if you don't, we can do some of that basics leading up to the more complex things. So
That's actually a great application of this would be, of learning to do calculates is like,
these 16 records are missing zip codes. We could type them all in or we could calculate them in.
Sure.
Okay, Curtis.
Go ahead, Curtis. Yeah.
Can you do a logic in this where you do an if-then else?
You can, and I've learned and forgotten a lot about that over the relearned and forgotten about doing that. I'm going to clear this out. If you could show a code block.
Yeah, that might be easier to do in Python. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's
I said if-then else, but I just did that for common.
Curtis, you absolutely can. In either VB script or Python, you basically write a mini function. I'm not going to demonstrate that right now. That might be an advanced class later on. But yes, that is certainly doable. Where you can do that.
Okay.
So it used to be easier, and it's actually got a little more. Also, I don't know if you ever just got loads of free time on your hands, because we all do. If I clicked on that little link about calculating fields, and believe it or not, Esri's got pretty good help documentation. If you ever feel like going through all this, you can. So here, this is what Curtis was just talking about.
Okay, cool.
About doing stuff like that. So anyway, now quickly, just like with calculates, with queries, you can do the same sort of thing. Suppose I want to select all street names that equal, I don't know, this may not be, I should have thought of,
a better example.
Yeah, I need to learn these. I never use these buttons, and I probably should. But like, I want to select where the pre-directional is equal to southeast, and the date created is greater than or equal to some date.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Apply, and there's probably nothing. Oh, 6.
None.
Okay.
Oh wow.
It was 6. But by the same token, I'm like, oh, I need to do this selection all the time. Well, no, you won't. But you can save this.
Well, you might.
save it.
I wish there was a way to say, like, the date created is after this date, or because sometimes I want to select all the records that were modified after a certain date so that I can see if
Well, this would do it. Just get rid of the first part, and this would do that, or the date modified.
Cool.
Yeah.
So because we use a true date field, right? Because sometimes if you just enter a date, it won't know what that, we'll sort them differently.
Right.
Okay.
I thought I had a special folder for.
If you don't, I'm highly disappointed with you.
I know, and I'm like, I thought I had a separate folder for queries. Well, anyway, so I can save this here as an expression. And I can just, you can name it whatever you want, and these could be shared as well. So, you can have a bank of queries available at any time. I will say this. I'll save that. What the heck? Loading works the same way. I don't know if, I don't know what happened. The help is pretty nice here. It goes into wildcards, the syntax for things. So this, if you ever want to learn about selecting things, like the logical stuff, like doing the ands and the nots,
Yes,
and the
yes.
ors. That's all. You can learn about that in here. I'll clear this out. You could say, but if I want to select where join ID is equals the null, is null, you don't say equals, you say is null.
Because
Oops,
null's not a number, so you can't use equal.
Right, and you can type this
Right.
out. You can
Yeah.
type this out yourself also, but if I say apply, well, it's going to come up with 0 because Julie has well-maintained cotton data.
Well, I think that doing a special training hour on these kinds of creating these
a training
expressions,
in and of
creating
itself.
expressions is really would be a good use of our time. But thinking about before you do the train, before we do it, what are the things we frequently do? Like, you know, some real life applications, like I want to find all the places that have double spaces, or I want, you know, so we
Yep.
can make sure, you know, or, you know, want to find all of records, like I said, new records between this, new records and records that were either created or modified after this date. I mean,
Sure.
I do that a lot. So yeah, if you could just, you know, plan on one, but I think we're.
Yeah. Well, no, that's certainly one for the list, Susan. No doubt about it. And yeah. Okay. Now then, this one I think might even be more applicable or useful to the people, to our resources as we have them now. I'm going to talk about saving symbology.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Everybody likes their maps to look a certain way. I know with the case of maybe Danny and Julie and maybe Lessa with Curtis, they start out with me giving them data and they actually get my MXD files that they use. But they may turn out.
That's called brainwashing.
I don't like green squares. But here's the thing. As you know, as you may or may not know, all of you, you can click on any actual symbology symbol in the table of contents and change it.
Right.
To whatever you want. And
I'll tell you right away, mine don't look like that because I don't have them saved out like that.
Well, because see,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a couple.
Because you know more about this than I do. Yeah.
This could probably be another training as well, but you can say I like. Well, let's say here I will. There's a lot of things I could do. I could just turn off my. Oh, I can't. Can I? Nope. Can't turn myself off. But I can see I'm showing things by category. If I do not group, well, okay, that's not what I wanted. Group by style. How do I? Okay. These are all okay. I had to get down away from my stuff into the Esri stuff here. But I want to start with some circle, and I don't like black. I like red, or I like purple, and it's too big. And this is the size I like. Well, anyway, you can save, and it brings up this little window. It's by default. It's going to save it to your user profile. Every person who logs into a computer who has used ArcMap has a folder in app data roaming, in your user's username, app data roaming, Esri, your desktop version, ArcMap, and it's going to be like there's going to be a jkellerman.style, a cmcgee.style, dcamera, Ryan, I don't know what yours is because you don't have an Esri SDR login, but there's going to be this file there, and that's where it will get saved. So you could just call this purple, and if you're like me, you'll call it purple circle 01.
I also keep this stuff in Dropbox and not in the default location. Yeah, I would never put that in that default Esri location.
Well, yeah, you can.
You can.
Yeah, yeah, no. Well, I mean,
it's really buried there. So
it is buried, and even if you choose to keep it, say you move it, Ryan, to Dropbox. Well, if you move it, ArcMap's gonna recreate one in that location for you.
Yeah, I know.
Whether you use it or not, well, you know, there may be a way to get around that, but Yeah, so because you can make your own styles. Anyway, the trick here though was I say AI is the category for address it, and I like that because it tends to put, when you list by category, it does it alphabetically. So I say AI, and it's got a little tag here that it's RGB, purple, the character as we define. You know, that's tracking certain attributes about that, which you don't need to enter that. But I click finish, and now there will be somewhere in here, what did I call it? Purple circle. See, look, Susan, I have one called Henry Addresses Changed.
Nice. Is that for your?
Here it is.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there it is. You know, it's just it's a nice way to be able to quickly get back to things that you use often. In my case, for addresses, look, I mean, do I really need 6 to 12 different address point symbols? Well, really, I probably only need one color of each shape because it's easy to change the color. Oh, I want a square this size, so let's just change it to whatever.
Right.
You know, but excuse me.
Well, how do you delete them?
Aha, that's you would do that up here in custom style manager. And see, I've got one that's still there from 10.5, but in the 10, this is where all of mine are saved. And Ryan, yours is just going to have a different path.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I've got that path as well.
Yeah.
So
And then
it's,
if
it's customized style manager. You open the directory, then you pick it and delete it, right?
yeah, so like this was a marker symbol, and here it lists all my markers. Yeah, I can, these work, like I could select all of these and copy and paste them somewhere else and do a different one,
Okay.
you know. But yeah, like I could go right here, right click, delete. Gone.
So Glenn, when we get new users on board, you know, Danny, Julie are the most recent users that we've had come on board, you could set them up with these already.
Well, yeah, from what Ryan is saying, you can have a style file.
You can just export it. You just need to.
Yes, well,
you
you just have to have it loaded so that you can see it here, and then you can copy and paste from there into your own or into wherever you choose.
Then that would be a part of the training that we would provide to our new employees that are using GIS. You would provide these style markers, and then when Kathleen trained, load them, and they would pop up to the top, and so we would be just a little easier because I'm always, you know how it defaults to an 18 point. Always defaults to an 18-point marker, which is gigantuan, and you know, and address it.
Well,
you know, with ArcGIS, I mean,
it might take just a little bit of poking around at it to figure out the best way to facilitate that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it would be fairly simple once the library of symbology is built.
Right. Yeah. Good.
And you know, and so this works for anything, for fill symbols. See, I've got all these different dashes and.
Yeah.
Mostly like for parcels and county boundaries, and then same for lines.
Right.
You know, all those different center lines with arrows.
I have a question.
Glenn, go ahead, Kathleen.
Okay, so, you know, this aside, does address it still make you bring a layer file back in?
Yes.
When you're using address it.
So
this is a design feature and address it that if we want to change, we can change. We have Michael who is able to get into our address it program now and make these changes. So if it's highly annoying that address it is always going to load a layer file no matter what your defaults are, and we want to modify that, then I think you at the higher level should get up and get together and decide what we want to do with that. But Glenn, go ahead. I just want to.
Well, yeah, Kath, that was going to be my next bit, was how to for the. I know Curtis has asked before. It drove him crazy a week ago or so. How to get your own. How to make the settings that you like for symbology not get overwritten by address it. And so, yeah, Kathleen, I would love something to get together with you, maybe, and present Michael something on a better way to select default symbology for address it. So what we're talking about, Danny, Ryan, and Ryan probably already knows, Curtis, Julie, address it by default will assign symbology to 5 feature classes if you have them: roads, addresses, landmarks, driveways, and parcels. You run setup, there's a default to symbology that it's going to apply, and you can change that. If you don't know how to change it, you can certainly change your symbology, but from session to session, it won't persist. And it really should be a little easier to do, I think. But as it is right now, address it layers, the symbology for it is stored in your profile, which, right, Ryan, it's kind of a drag. Everything, it's all, well, that's, Esri's not alone.
It's like, I don't know, it's sucked into this, you know, like Windows user.
Right.
Like, which I think is
we
crappy.
followed because Esri followed it, so that's what we followed. With
Yeah, I think that the file structure is difficult to follow, and it's impossible it's impossible to find anything.
Well,
and it's gotten
Ryan,
worse with Windows 10.
Ryan, I used to think that in the case of this stuff that we're talking about today, I've learned it's just easier to go with it, and the locations don't freak me out. But no, I am the same way. I prefer to keep as little things as possible in my profile. If I can change the setting to not go to my profile to save something, I will. That being said, so let's just real quick for the Julies and the Dannys. Kathleen, you know this all by heart. And the reason I'm going to bring this up is because it's not intuitive, but say you just don't like green squares and you want all of your address points, whatever you use, address it to be red circles. Well, we can do that. First things is I would need to not be here yet, too soon. You have to have a layer file. Let's do red circles. And if I right click on this, right click on the layer name, save as layer file.
You're very fast.
Okay. I right clicked on the layer name in the table of contents, save as layer file.
Okay.
This is a file that's going to have an .lyr file extension. I already have a place I save these all. Let's see where I have all these.
Maybe SDR?
I think it is. It's in the I've been moving a lot of my stuff to my E drive, so I am actually kind of Arc symbology files, so layer files. So here's a place where I save layer files that I use for address it. So adds red circle. Do I have a red? I don't have one. So
okay, so for the rest of us who aren't going to have a billion of these saved, just so you know, we usually just make a layer file either in SDR or in the project itself. If you're saving a layer specifically, like for Cotton County, and we would call it ads_cotton or ads_address it or something like that.
And that makes more sense because it would pretty much move with the data also.
We're not all power users, and so that's it would. So anyway, but once you create these layer files, Glenn's going to show you how to load them and address it, then you will always get the same results. So the way to get the same symbology to show up for all of the projects you use address it on is in the user settings. I went to Arc setup. This I'm going to leave alone, and I still have the. Is Michael going to try and fix this, Susan? The what?
For some monitor resolutions, you see how my
Justin. Yeah, it's a.
That's a problem.
What do you call these windows? There are two different kinds of windows. Ones are interactive and the others aren't. Modal, something like that. They had a problem with that in the early days. So I will put that in my list.
Well, anyway, in here though is layer symbology on the user settings, layer symbology. So to change the one one, like I don't like my address points. I want to change it. So you need to select the layer whose symbology. These values here do not correspond to layer names. These are just basically data types. Address it has 5 different kinds of data it can affect. Roads, parcels, landmarks, driveways, address point. So I pick address point. Then I click the change button. And now it wants me to pick a layer file that it's going to pull all of the symbology from. And that was in all of this, Arc symbology files. And I want wrong folder.
The one above it, Glenn, right there. No, you had it. It was in there.
I did address it. Art.
The top one, yeah.
There it is.
No, top one, yeah. Top
Oh,
one.
there you go. Red circle. Now, it says that it has updated the default symbology. Well, it didn't say default, but that's what it did. It updated the default symbology for address points. I believe you still have to save your
Yes,
setup.
you do. You do. Mhm.
Okay, don't worry about these things down here, not part of what I'm talking about. I'm going to get save.
I mean, I'll just say where I find this most annoying with clients is like if they have a map book or something they're working on and they want different symbology for that project, you know, different than their regular project that they're
Right.
working in. And you have to change it back and forth all the time. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's annoying for them.
Well, here's
So
the thing,
it's-
Kathleen. I thought
Right,
about that.
Easier
I
thing for
mean-
that would be to make another project, right?
It
Well,
doesn't matter.
Well, the thing is,
not another
this
project.
sticks with your user profile, so it's going to
Yeah,
apply
okay.
no matter
You're right,
what
yeah.
GIS
Hold on.
project you're in. Yeah, go ahead.
You're
go ahead.
both missing the key element here, though. It's presumably they have a different MXD set up for this map.
Correct.
Right?
What they would really need, and it's not optimal, they would need basically a duplicate copy of the geodatabase they're drawing the data from that doesn't have
Yeah.
address it set up in it.
Yeah. of
Yeah,
course,
that's-
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's a real pain for people
It's
that
a
are.
pain, and they
It is
sometimes-
pain because then if they want to do an updated map, they got to update the data in
Okay.
that geodatabase they're pointing to. So
Okay, so I have a just a real quick statement. We need to, on the high level, think this out. This is what we have now, right? So we have to just think about, we have to use it and understand how to use it. On a higher level, we need to think out how would we change it and how could we change it to make it easier and better for all users. So because we're getting at close to our hour now, Glenn, basically what we want to convey
yeah.
here is that this is how you have to create these layer files and load them and address it. Now, if you create one using unique values based on classification, and you don't have all those classification fields open and you open a different project, this happens to me with other client data a lot, you'll get your symbology listing 16 layers of roads, but nothing will be there because that classification doesn't exist in the layer you loaded. So
I agree.
you have to manually change it. So, yeah.
What I was going to demonstrate here, I was going to open a different project and it should open up with
Yeah, with the red
for
circles.
point.
Yeah.
It should. Okay, real quick then. That's how you would do it. You would rinse and repeat for the different for your roads and parcels or whatever and driveways. Real quick, the last thing is custom toolbars, and this isn't really as complicated as it seems, and really it could be kind of fun, but
Glenn has one there. I see your address and toolbar there.
this one right here is called Glenn's Tools because I made it. You can right click on any gray area and go down to customize.
Okay.
I believe
Oh.
from customize, you can go into customize mode here also. The same thing happens. And when you do that on toolbars, there's 3 tabs, right? Toolbars, you just say new.
Okay.
And I'm going to call it training. You can give it I think you can even use punctuation in these names.
Okay. So basically, you're going to create a toolbar. You could, basically pull things together from multiple toolbars, all sorts of things. Your most frequently used things, right, Glenn?
Yes, anything. So I've got training, and here's it docked it by default, but there it is. If I come over,
useful.
if I come over to the commands tab, this shows me every tool on every toolbar in ArcMap, and there's categories. So we're still thinking on mine. So let's just say
I'm
I'm waiting.
Are you in?
Okay, Arc Toolbox. I can go and add a tool. I mean, I can, okay, that's maybe not a good one here.
Just put some addressed tools.
No, no, yeah, well, I'll just say there's one down here. Hold on, I know what I'll do. Where is it? It's selection. So here's all the different selection tools that Arc has.
Okay.
I can click on one of these and click, and if I hold down, I can drag it up to this toolbar.
Oh, cool.
I can do clear selection. I can drag it to an existing Esri toolbar.
Could you put it on an address it toolbar?
Absolutely.
So you could like add more tools to your address it toolbar. It will just stick
Or,
them
well,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
my custom tool, but like,
Yeah, I see.
okay, well, to get one off, you have to be in this mode, in the customize mode.
And then you click it and make it off.
And I could drag stuff off of an address it toolbar, so I would not recommend doing that. I think you would need to reinstall address it if you did that. But you can build your own toolbar from anything that
Okay, so it's customized, and then under toolbars, you go to the bottom.
new.
Custom,
I go to
new, and then you can name it.
and I can name it, and then I can figure out where it will dock it somewhere.
Okay, and then you just drag tools from the
Then
commands.
I go to the commands, and there's all these different. I haven't even looked topology. I could look at fixed. There's. I don't know what a lot of these things are.
Third order polynomial.
Yes, yes, snapping. Okay, look, edge snapping. I mean, I can. Let's see, pan zoom tools. Here, I can add my own back and forward buttons. I can build a toolbar with any tools I want. Now, what I did over here for this toolbar was I clicked on address it, and there's all the address it tools. And I just built one that has all the tools I use all the time, so I don't need 4 toolbars open. Yes, occasionally I need to delete something, and I'll open up the address it delete toolbar, but I don't use it often enough to be on my most commonly used one. So it's kind of fun. I recommend, I think there's a lot of power here that you can really tweak your own way of doing things with this. So the thing is, let's see, these toolbars, they exist, but if you make a new map, that toolbar, it may not be, you may have to recreate it on a different map. The way that the custom toolbar is stored and saved, okay, there's a way to, if you do it on a map template that all your maps are based on, then you'll always have it, which is what I've done. But it's, it would take another class to probably explain how that worked. But I'm just saying, if you create a new map, a brand new map, you may have to redo this on that map.
Got it. Okay. It may be associated only with one MXD, is what you're saying, or not?
Yes, I believe any custom toolbar that you make is specific to that MXD.
Okay, so
there's no indication on here that is the case, but that is how it works.
Okay.
And then there's other things.
But they seem like they're very easy to build, and you could build the one just of the tools that you have to go searching for all the time, and then just rebuild that on the on the MXDs that you're working. Like Julie and Curtis have just a set number of 2, 3, 4, whatever that they're opening at any given any time, so that wouldn't be as difficult.
Right.
So.
And Ryan, I believe you can add some of the Python tools as buttons on the toolbar.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
I think if you find a toolbar here, I think you can. I don't remember though. If you've done it already, then there you go. It's possible though. But that's all I had, guys. I know that some of this was really not tips and tricks. It got into a little bit more advanced stuff, but being able to save calculates and save expressions is can be very powerful. And yeah, we should probably utilize that more and share it more.
And that's what I see when we have these, these are opportunities for you all to look at what other users do and how you could apply all or some of that most easily. Sometimes it's, if you learn how to build it yourself, you will, you build a tool, you build something, you're going to learn more than just using the tool. But sometimes we don't have enough time for all of us to be the, the innovators here. So also just getting some ways that we can more easily just, distribute or disseminate this information. So Glenn, I really appreciate this. I've learned some things, which is great. I've been using ArcGIS since about 1998, and I have learned things today. So that's excellent. And
what did we have before ArcGIS?
I'm sorry, we had
what
before ArcGIS, we used MicroStation, MX DGN files,
Okay,
DGN, DW, yeah.
You kind of remember that.
I remember. It didn't have a connected database. It was much more. It was less efficient, but it's used still for architecture, things like that. It's drawings, utilities. They use it a lot still. So, Glenn, thank you. I'd like you to follow up with just a little shortcut list for those of us with the keyboard
I
things.
think I can find an Esri link where you'll be able to print out a list of keyboard things.
If you do that, get that to us, please.
Yes.
And next week, Kathleen is going to be doing a presentation on how to rubber sheet. I think a lot of you will find this interesting. It's basically how to take a JPEG and pin it down into your map so that it aligns with the true features on the map. Now, the JPEG would have to be a map, and it would have to be drawn to scale, right? You can't just say, here's a drawing that I made in my backyard. I mean, you could try, but it's,
Well,
you know what I mean? Yeah, you could actually, but the idea here, of course, is you're taking a flat two-dimensional drawing and making it adhere to a three-dimensional world, even though ArcGIS is two-dimensional. It's kind of hard to, you'll see. But basically, the application here is if you get a plat, a sub-drawing of a subdivision, a development, even though we don't have parcels drawn, we can tack it down and manipulate it so that you can use it as a base to draw over or to refer to when you are, doing other applications. So,
And
Kathleen,
we have several clients, after I showed them how to do this, they were like, oh, they do it all the time.
So Kathleen, beforehand, I'd like you to distribute to everybody the JPEG that, whatever you're going to use, so they can actually, if they want to, kind of work along with you.
Okay.
And it will be the same time, same place, and everybody's invited, whether you think you'll use it frequently or not. So
How do they add in pictometry? Like if you got an address, how do you add in pictometry where you have an address that has 4 floors and you want to just pop up a diagram about what's on it?
Are you
So
talking
that's
about if you actually had pictometry, if you actually had the links to the
we were having to add pictometry to certain addresses and stuff.
That is, you're getting into three-dimensional stuff. So, I mean, what the Esri world does, for the 911 world is they stack them on top of each other and then just use the elevation in the attribution. So you'd have a Z value for your points and things. So I think I'd have to talk with you a little bit more, Curtis, to see exactly how, but pictometry, because it is 3D, if you actually have those ortho, what do you call them? The slanted,
The obliques.
Orthographics.
The obliques, thank you. The obliques.
Yeah.
They actually are only linked to Esri. They're not integrated into Esri in most applications.
So they treat them like an HTML
It opens in a
pop.
separate window. Yeah, it will open in a separate pop-up window. It won't actually be part of it. Yeah. That's the Eagle View software does that, and we actually have access to that if we ever we get those. But we can talk a little bit more about that. But
I was just curious. I didn't see
so
it.
that's basically, well, when you click on a point, it can link on the map. It can link to that piece of the image, the images, the obliques that are associated with that. You can spin around, but you're not actually doing it in Esri. You're doing it in the application that pops up on top of Esri.
Yeah, I saw something in ArcMap that had HTML that you could use an HTML attachment, and it would pop. it
Yes,
out
yeah,
of the
basically that's what, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, there are, I guess you could build something like that. And I know that everything, it pops out, but it's not manipulated within the typical ArcMap, draw environment. So,
Right,
yep.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something I would like to, I don't know how practical it would be, but being able to use the attribute table to link to other resources would be kind of nice.
Well, Kathleen, we
With
can
the
do
hyperlink.
links and things. I mean, we've, basically, and I can show you. And in fact, I want to do a Go To It session with you guys with our new Go To It because we do have the links built in that, so we can show you how
Oh.
that works. So you can
Nice.
link URLs, you can link all sorts of things. So
Okay, so next
probably
training-
after Kathleen's, the week or two after that, we'll do the Go To intro, so you guys, because I think we can use Go To It internally to make some of our functionality for light GIS easier.
right.
So something else. Okay, so in 3 weeks, we're going to have 2 more Tuesday meetings. And Julie, so far we're talking about projects on Tuesdays, and you don't work Tuesdays. It hasn't been an issue at all, but if we ever have to include you, we'll reschedule to a Wednesday. So, but the next 2 we meet, and then the following one, Kathleen and I happen to get the Pfizer vaccine, and it's on it could be a Tuesday morning again in 3 weeks. Glenn will lead that one, but I'll be back for the next 2. So,
Kathleen, this is all recorded.
Yes, it is.
Video and audio.
Yeah, should be. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, the Go-To meeting records the audio as well as the screen capture, so we'll get all that. And Kathleen, just send that back out. Post it to share file, and just send a link or something like that.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
If you post it somewhere where I can get a copy of it, I could put it on our private
YouTube
SDR
channel.
YouTube
Yeah, do that. Do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so rubber sheeting will be next. We'll be getting an invite for that.
Right.
Yep, and we'll send that out. Yep.
Okay, good deal.
Okay.
Thanks,
thank you all
guys.
so much.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Glenn.
you.
Bye, guys.
It was good. This was very good.
Yep,
Thanks.
enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.